Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. First off, I want to say thank you very much for joining me yesterday for the August monthly market outlook, which we hosted in the PivotBoss community room at pivotboss.ecofin.co. If you want to watch the replay, the recording of the webinar, you can go to pivotboss.ecofin.co and click on the PivotBoss TV video playlist, and that webinar recording will be in that video playlist. So again, thank you very much for joining me yesterday. We got a lot of great candidates out of yesterday's session and talked seasonality and other things for the market. And let's go ahead and get started here with the ES. You'll notice here with the ES we remain in a very bullish uptrending market. This market remains in a very steady path higher right now, with higher highs, higher lows, and at some point very soon, perhaps after we reach some upside target here like this 3385, we may see a significant day where we get a very clear outside day down and take out multiple day lows. It may just be a one-day event and then we bounce from there. Remember, if we get as low as 3,300 or 3,286, that could be a great buying opportunity for a continuation higher. Maybe even as low as 3,239s rather. That could even be a continuation higher at some point down the road, as again, we know that the FOMC key level, after taking a bid here, it will continue to go bid until a rejection is seen, at which point it will likely come back and retest that level. So right now, again, very bullish market at the moment. At some point, perhaps we see rejection. Right now, for example, the NQ is currently trading below the previous session's midpoint, which was a rejection day, whereas the ES is currently at new highs. Complete difference right now, and a break of that correlation. But nonetheless, while the NQ is on a 3-day pullback, the ES remains on a very steady path higher. It looks very curious. It looks very similar to the price action we saw over here at the beginning of June before we saw some sort of quick correction. Now we have gone completely higher since then. So again, that's the point. Even if we do see a correction here, it'd be a great buying opportunity for a continuation higher. So right now, cautiously buying the dips here, but knowing that we could see some sort of significant event here fairly soon. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. Now, at the moment, as I mentioned here a moment ago, the NQ is currently below the previous session's midpoint, and this is after rejecting the previous session's high. So the high price here is 156.5. The high today is 57.75. So it's a failed high here, and we're now breaking through the midpoint to the downside here, which could open the door to much more selling pressure ahead and become a bearish outside day. So right now, this one is currently breaking down at the moment. Any rejection of 11,040 from below could provide a drop for a continuation down. Again, yesterday's midpoint 11,042s. So if you retest that area from below at this moment and stay below it, we could easily retest these lows down below. So yesterday's low is 928s. We talked about the 914 previous month's close. Right now, we're starting to see quite a bit of selling pressure here for the NQ, in addition to the ES backing off of the highs. So at the moment, as this is playing out, you're starting to see a violation here. Again, anytime you reject the previous session's high and you start to push through the previous session's midpoint, it opens up the previous session's low. So we could be looking at a takeout of that low, and again, look for a trap down below for maybe a bounce. A failure to hold below today's the previous session's midpoint by the close of today would open up more weakness in the near term ahead. Okay, let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil right now has been bullish today. It is up about 1.6 0.76%. It is above multiple day highs. So you can see 3-day highs right here, but it's starting to back off a little bit and is now approaching the previous high from 3 days ago. This is all happening above the previous month's high here of 42.50. And we also have that key range high that just happened here recently at 43.52. So basically, if price starts to fail back below this high and back below this blue line, we may ultimately end up back below these highs as well and back toward 42s. Right now we're trading 42.67, so it wouldn't be a huge move to get it back down there already, but that could leave behind a tail above these 3-day highs, which could lead to more weakness ahead. Again, we have this key range right now, and it's really those edges. So a test at the edge here could open up a fade. A test at this edge could open up a fade. And right now, inside the range, just watching it and being more cautious, but the early sign right here is to keep an eye on these highs here, because a failure could open up a retest of 42 with the potential to see a bit more weakness ahead. Okay, let's take a look now at gold futures. Now gold is down 3.5%. We talked about this in the monthly market outlook in the previous session yesterday afternoon, that many gold stocks were showing sell signals here, not just in the industry group but also ETFs, and you're starting to see selling pressure come into play right now for this one here. This selling pressure here is pretty heavy here, taking out 4-day lows. You can definitely see a big break of this range right here down through 2025s. Huge move right now. This is exactly what we talked about in the monthly market outlook, and I mentioned before that due to the thinness of the profile back here, we're going to have to retrade back to these prices and then go right back up to fatten up the profile a bit, likely leaving behind an LVN somewhere between 1830 and 1860, or 1850 and 1825, somewhere in there. So this could be a pretty significant impulse sell-off. That high right there, significant, and now we're starting to see the sell-off. We will find an impulse low wherever it may be, and that impulse low will likely give us a great short-term reaction back to the midpoint of that range, and we'll have ourselves a new key range where we do business, fatten up the profile, build energy ahead of a move to 2211. So that's the idea here with gold as we pull back. Again, we discussed this potential pullback in the previous afternoon here in the monthly market outlook, starting to see that play out right now. And again, let this thing sell off until we find a strong low. Once we find a strong low, this thing could easily bounce right back here, give ourselves a key range, and start building energy for the next continuation higher. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.